Hello and welcome Josh and Sam to Weston Super Mare, Champions of Europe. Look at the sensational rise. Yeah, so like I said, I'd be back after the Champions League final and we would do ourselves a little review. I thought I would do a league review of all the leagues and then of all the main leagues anyway, and then go through our squad. So let's do that now. Premier League. Now, as you see, Weston Super Mare finished 5th, yet we knocked Tottenham out of the Champions League. Because we won the Champions League. Oh, by the way, I'm recording this. Mesh is trying to get to sleep. This is just after the Liverpool versus Roma 5-2 result. So I'm a little bit on a high after watching some good football. And yeah, I'm reviewing an excellent season. So yeah, we finished 5th. City won it. We probably should have won it had we won the Chelsea game. No, sorry, had we won the Tottenham game. Had we not drawn 9 games, we would have been fine. But such is the way of things. We didn't win it, so fine. Liverpool won the FA Cup, therefore they qualify for Europe. Leicester won the League Cup, therefore they qualify for Europe. Then you've got City, United, Chelsea, Weston in the Champions League, and Spurs and Arsenal join, and QPR join Liverpool and Leicester in the Europa League. If we go down more, I think I can hear myself better here. Okay, let's do that. I can whisper and then you can still hear me, and it's nice. So in the Championship, Southampton won, Birmingham came second. Those two fairly comfortable and convincing promotion candidates. Bristol City won the playoffs. Everton yet again finished 3rd. Is that the... because they finished 4th, and that's it. So they 4th, 3rd. They didn't get promoted again, lol. Charlton finished 11th, decent mid-table, pretty much standard for them. Brighton finished 18th, it's a slight drop from last season. Carlisle finished 15th, not bad. At the bottom here, Coventry, Burnley, Aldershot relegated into League One, being replaced by Portsmouth, Peterborough and Southend. Plymouth obviously came 11th, very nice. And who else do we have in this league that we... Swindon relegated. Down into League 2, where they are replaced by Reading, Crawley, Stockport and York. Shrewsbury survived in the league, that's nice. Dagenham and Redbridge, one of Sam's former teams, relegated. Rochdale also relegated, that's sad. Ebbsfleet, managed by young Carlos Tevez, did not manage to get promoted, but he is still the manager, so maybe we'll see him have another tilt at the title next season. Back down in the Blue Square Premier, Oxford won it, 96 points, pretty good, although if we look at our season, 107. 96 points wouldn't have even got them second that season, so mugs, basically. Stupid Oxford, fuck them. Dorchester also got promoted. Down at the bottom of the table, a little bit sad. 4 teams that we care about here, all relegated. Welling, one of Sam's former teams. Tranmere, Lewis's beloved. Barnet and Bromley, Barnet being one of Josh's former teams and Bromley being one of Sam's current teams, all of them relegated into both the Blue Square North, where Rotherham and Stalbridge got promoted, and Gateshead, Eastwood and Redditch got relegated, and in the Blue Square South, Dover and Braintree promoted, Cambridge City, Gloucester City, Cheshire United relegated. So that's the Football League as it is. We'll see who comes up next season, but we won't see that now. We'll have to wait a month. The FA Cup, Liverpool won 4-0, beating Stoke, who ridiculously knocked us out. Gautier scored twice, as did Janos Naj and Revien Ramlal, both of whom are terrible. And the League Cup final, Leicester City, one for Josh Staniforth here. They won 3-1. Masha is wandering about. She says hi. Leicester 3, Man City 1. Leandro Garcia Navas paid £82,000 a week. He scored the first. Neymar equalised. Neymar now at the age of 34, still playing for Man City after being bought for 46 million. He's still good. And he's paid £91,000 a week. So, well done him. Then Hector Sanchez, the Peruvian, he scored for Leicester, being paid £62,000 a week. And then in the final minute of extra time in the first half, Fabrice Yanin scored, who's a decent little player. All of these players for Leicester are all being paid a lot of money. Let me just check. Have they been taken over by... They're managed by Tim Sparv. He just won the championship with Southampton, and he got manager of the year, and now he's manager of Leicester, so maybe that will help. Landmarks... Yeah, they were taken over in 2018, so nearly 10 years ago, by a tycoon, Bosko Rakovic. That explains why lots of their players have been paid a ridiculous amount of money. It doesn't explain why they... Oh no, he was nearly there for a year, that's fine. But yeah, so there we go, Leicester City. Well done them. And so we're also looking through English things. Man United won the Community Shield. Mash is now back to bed. I will go quickly through the Spanish League. Spain, Barcelona, La Liga, Real Madrid won. Valencia at one point were on for the title, but I think our Champions League doubleheader derailed their season a bit, because at that time they were 2 games off the top. They had 2 games in hand over the top, and if they'd won both those games, they'd have been at least joint top, so I think they might have failed a little bit there. Ligue 1. No, won't work. Fine. France. France. Who's won France? Oh, come on. Lyon. Oh, for Christ's sake, what am I doing? No, oh my God, again. Ligue 1. Okay, so Lyon won, and quite comfortably over Paris Saint-Germain, Sochaux Montpellier, and Girondins de Bordeaux. Well done them. Germany. Enter. If we go to Germany, if we go to Stuttgart, and if we go to the first division, the Bundesliga, obviously Klopp's Bayern won the title. I mentioned that in our last video when we won the Champions League. They'll be joined next season in the Champions League by Dortmund and Schalke, Mainz and Stuttgart, get into the Europa League. Well done them. Aue and Oberhausen get relegated, not really trying. I suppose Aue tried a little bit, but not really that much. And we'll finish off our Europe-wide roundup with a look at Italy, being managed by Giuseppe Iannacci. They're in the European Union. That's good for them. Well done. Oh no, they're managed by... Oh no, that's AC Milan, who are managed by Walter Mazzari. Okay, I see. Anyway, Napoli won Serie A, Inter, Juventus, Torino, AC Milan, Genoa and Cagliari are all in Europe next season. Juventus are not the dominant force in this game that they are in real life, because this game came out just before they started their period of dominance. So it's been a little bit more mixed in the Italian leagues. Napoli, Juventus, Inter, AC Milan. Anyone else interesting who's won it? No, just the big 3 or 4 teams. So there we go, fair enough. Fine, and that means that we now need to look at the Weston Super Mare squad. So I'm going to look at the overall stats for the teams, the players, and we will then go through the team by appearances. We'll break down their appearances, we'll look at their current stats, we'll see, and we'll discuss what we're going to do next season. So the player who played the most games this season is Roberto Montignelli. He's still not played for Italy, despite having played, I think, 3 seasons for us, around the 7 mark, so they obviously have a decent left back. It statistically doesn't look that... I mean, you would expect a really, really good defender to be out here on all the mental, technical, aerial stats. But he's not, but he is great at defending, physical and speed, and he plays a 7.2. He made 56 appearances in total, 5 assists. No goals, no penalties, but yeah, a good little player. And considering we bought him for 3.2 million, a steal. So well done, Roberto. Continue that form, please. Next player is Kalle Engblom. He's a Swedish legend. Not paid very much money. Obviously, if Leicester had him, he'd be paid £150,000. But he's technically, I mean, his statistics are sensational. He's ridiculous. Similarly, his actual game stats are ridiculous. 53 games, 12 goals for a centre-back. Not bad at all. 5 assists, which is also kind of weird. I don't know if you got those. An average rating of 7.48. So well done to him. He will be sticking around with us next season, as will Montignelli. Next up in the appearance list is Georgie Cunningham. Young Georgie Porgy, he made 63 appearances, scored 32 goals in all competitions, 18 of those coming in the league. Does that count their non-competitive goals? I don't think it does. 18 plus 10, that's 20. So if you add 14, no, so it's only the League, Cup and Continental goals that counts. It doesn't obviously count the international or the non-competitive. Okay, fine. So 32 goals for Weston this season. He got 15 assists, which is pretty crazy. 11 man of the match awards, an average rating of 7.61. He's a Scottish international with more goals than he's got caps. That's insane. Potential worries are that he's 29, so which is fine, but at this point we're going to start to expect to see his physical stats decline, at which point he's going to start to become very limited as a player, because he's not that great at he's fine at finishing and composure. He's not anything special. He's obviously nothing in the air because he's only 5'9". We might be starting to think about moving him on in a couple of years. I mean, he's still got 2 years left on his contract, is that? Yes, it is. I've taken my glasses off for this record because I'm just playing it cool. So it's a little harder for me to see the little numbers. Anyway, that's Cunningham. We've then got Nick Fitzgerald. Shut up. He's 23. He's statistically excellent. He's played 48 games, 2 assists, no goals. That's a shame. Has he ever got a goal in his career? He scored once for Swansea. Probably against us. That would be the bloody typical situation. No goals, 2 assists, 7.2 rating. He's great. He's around till 2027. I'm going to try and get him to sign a new contract this season, so I expect his wage will go up. But yeah, he's really good. Reynaldo Soto doesn't look all that. I think that's possibly because his physical stats, in terms of speed at least, are relatively low. But he is really good. Obviously, he's conceded a fair number of goals compared to his actual appearances, and he's only played a 6.89, but he's a good goalkeeper. He's only 24. He's got time to improve, and I will be keeping him on because he's great. Speaking of great, we move on to Albert Bayonne. Another one who sort of doesn't quite fit the traditionally, he's not great in the air, he's not quick, but he's sensational at defending. He's great mentally, great physically in terms of strength. He scored 44 appearances for us this season, 6 goals in the competitive games he played for the club, 2 assists and an average rating of 7.7. He definitely has shaken off his injury-prone tag that I had definitely labelled with him when we first signed him. Interesting to note, he's one of many players who will miss the European Super Cup final because of a one-match ban. Lots of yellow cards in Europe this season for us. Uros Kotnik, not that good, technically, but has played a decent season, average rating of 7.14, despite missing quite a large chunk of the first half of the season through injury. Hence, he only played 27 league games and only got 1 league goal, but he scored 5 overall, ended up with 41 appearances, which isn't bad. 12 assists as well, which is very good. He will continue next season. I will be looking to sign a new right midfielder, not necessarily to replace Kotnik, but to give him give us some depth on that position, to give him some competitive competition that doesn't include Mads Pedersen, because obviously Pedersen is much better as a striker. Now on to the star of the season, young or not so young Luciano Dagna, the Argentinian. He's being paid a lot. He's also a player who's missing the European Super Cup next season. He played 49 appearances, 8 goals, including a couple of absolute screamers. He got 24 assists, which is a Weston Super Mare record, breaking his own record of 21, and an average rating of 7.2. Now, he's 31. I would be expecting these stats to drop off over the summer and as we get towards, when's his birthday? Okay, so he's probably got at least 1 year left with us. He's got at least 1 year left with us on his contract, so that's fine. Maybe we can flog him for. Yeah, I mean, if someone came in with a £20 million bid, I'd sell him, because he's 31. He's not going to get any better, and we could use that money to reinvest. But as it is at the moment, I think I'm going to try and sign him on until 2028, reduce his wages slightly, and hopefully keep him on as a secondary attacking side midfielder. We'll see Boris Abdallah in a bit, and we'll discuss why that is. Back to wingers, Nieto. I thought he played really well. He's played 47 times for the club this season, got 5 goals, 4 assists, average rating of 6.9. Not that great. And that's weird, because I thought he was better than that. He seemed to play better than that when I was paying attention to him particularly. He always seems to make an impression when he comes on, although he clearly doesn't really do that great. He doesn't get that many goals, he doesn't get that many assists. So, I don't know. The key point to this is that I'm probably going to look for another left midfielder as well. Nieto is fine. He'll improve a little bit more. Do they say he's going to improve? Yeah, so he's got a little bit of improvement left in him. But I'm going to try and look for another left winger to be ahead of Nieto. But he's been good this season, and you can't really knock him. I'm not looking to get rid of him unless someone bidded something stupid for him, in which case fine, because it's not like he's a key player. But he played fine. Next, a lot of talking. Boris Abdallah. He is half Reunionese, which means that the joke I made a few episodes ago about him being the Reunionese Lampard holds true. So thank you. He's statistically excellent. He plays great in attacking role. He's very much the new Luciano Dagna, not quite as creative, but quicker and possibly better attacking wise. Anyway, this season he played 47 games, got 5 goals, including a hat-trick, so that's kind of skewed a little bit. But he did get 16 assists, which is incredible. 7.13 average rating. He's a great player, and he's only 25, so can only get better. Glad to have him in the squad. Look, he's only got 1 year left on his contract, so I'm going to try and extend that. Hopefully we don't have to pay him too much more. But I'm a big fan of his, and we will be keeping him on. He scored his first goal against Lesotho, I think. Then we move on to one of the legends of the club, Mads Pedersen. Still, despite being 30 now, physically, creatively, attacking and technical, just sensational. He played 47 games this season, although most of those, in fact, I'd say the vast majority of the goals this season came from the wing. Despite that, 15 goals. He also got 10 assists. But next season I want to bring him back into his usual striking role. I want to have someone properly on the right wing, because it's clear that if you look at his last seasons with Weston Super Mare, it's clear that when he plays up front he's much more effective. So we will take him back to that position, and that's what we will do. So yeah, basically right winger, high on the list. Now, one of the standout performers of this season, the 25-year-old Tunisian Maya Zetouni. This is his statistical record. He's very good at finishing. He's got good composure as well, which makes me happy. He's great at heading, despite being not that tall, but good in the air because he can jump. He's also great at heading, as I said. He made 43 appearances this season, scoring 24, which isn't great, including, a ridiculous... He top scored in the Champions League, 12 goals. It's very, very good. He missed a penalty, though, so mug. He also got 9 assists, average rating of 7.32, ridiculous. Very happy with him. Man City and PSG have already shown interest in him, and the season hasn't even really technically ended yet. But we will not be selling him. He's one for the future, very much so. Speaking of Mehdi Mounier, he's very much our first choice left mid, and you can see why, because he's great. Dribbling 19, crossing 16, corners 17, it's ridiculous. He played 50 games this season, got 4 goals, 11 assists. The trouble with him is, and it's not even really reflected here, but his natural fitness, he seems to be relatively injury prone, and he doesn't produce consistently. Weaknesses? He doesn't have any real weaknesses, despite what Cristiano Ronaldo thinks. But in my opinion, he's not consistent enough, and so yeah. And also he's got a bit of a hot head because he got sent off when he played 3 games in midfield for us. So well done him. So yeah, Mounier, but he'll obviously be sticking around. I think, do we have to sign him again soon? No, he's got another year, only 1 year less. I'll be re-signing him. Ljubko Sabani, 25 years old, Australian centre mid. He's already got 76 caps for Australia. He has been great for us this season as a stand-in. He made 37 appearances, which is not that many considering how good he is. 2 goals, including 1 stunner, I think you might remember it. 12 assists, 7.9 rating. He's just great. I'm going to sign him up again. He's super good and a very good sort of rotation option, as well as being like clearly good enough to start anyway, but he's just a little bit sort of physically frail, relatively speaking. Speaking of defensive-minded midfielders, we then have Martin Spencer at 5'10", a little bit stronger, better defensively than Sabani. He had a long-term injury towards the end of the season. I think he lost probably a third of the season to injury, hence only made 31 appearances. No goals for the club, but he got 1 for the international team for assists, and an average rating of 7.01. He's already got 2 years left on his contract. We'll probably be looking to extend that. He's a very, very good player. We're not looking to get rid of him. He's good. Hasan Mistikovic, he's still got the same statistics if you look at him as Montignelli, basically. He's similar to Montignelli, maybe a little bit quicker actually, but less creative in terms of his crossing ability. He ended up making 22 appearances this season with an average rating of 7.19, sorry. No goals, 1 assist, but that came from Montenegro. I will probably try and sign him again for 1 more year. He got a little bit unhappy. He wants to go into coaching, he wants to move, but we might be able to re-sign him for a single year contract next season as a backup, because he's a very good player. He can play on the left and the right now that we've trained him, and I like him. Now then, the super disappointment. 15 starts, 22 substitute appearances, 12 goals, not bad, but 5 in the league. 5 assists, average rating of 7. He seemingly is decent, but he just doesn't perform regularly enough. He's paid a lot of money. He's worth a lot of money. The question I have for you, if you listen to this before I record the next video, is: do I sell him? We bought him for $3 million. He's had a couple of decent seasons. Well, no, he's had a couple of good seasons interspersed with a couple of decent seasons. And I don't know if we can afford to keep a player that, despite being clearly technically excellent, isn't really doing it. I mean, he's great for England. He's just a striker. It's not like he's some great striker. He loves Weston Super Mare, of course. Doesn't like me, though. That might be key. Anyway, yeah, so the underwhelming season from Billy Watts. Then we got Carlos, the Peruvian. He did well he got 26 appearances, 1 goal, although I thought that was more, but no, 1 goal, 7 roughly on the average rating. Decent, he's fine, he's going to improve. We'll keep him as a backup as we continue to go on forwards. His real name is Kakui. He likes me, that's nice. He speaks Quechua, that's cool too. But yeah, no, decent player. Happy to keep him on as a sort of defensive backup player. Fine. Happy to keep him rotating in the squad. Lais Casolo, his aerial and distribution are weaker than Soto's. That's why he doesn't play ahead of him. Communication-wise, I think he's possibly better. 29 years old at this point. He made 11 appearances this season, conceded 7 clean sheets, so that's actually very good, although he did play in a lot of weaker games. He's got 2 years left on his contract, and he'll probably play those 2 out. He's good, you know, like you can't really complain. He's been at the club for a very long time now. Does he like the club? That'd be interesting to see. He doesn't, and he doesn't like me either. Dick. Okay, so yeah. Anyway, Lais, he's got some caps for Italy. That's nice. Yeah, but he'll probably stick around as our number 2 next season. That's likely. Then we've got young Wellington Torres. He's clearly excellent, finishing 19, composure 16. He only got 3 league goals, but he only signed in January. He got 5 in the cup, I think, all in one game. Ended the season with a rating of 7.3, 2 assists, 8 goals. He'll have a better part to play next season. You can guarantee that because he's really, really good. So hard to really judge him. Justice and Bailey starting to complain about lack of game time here. Now he's great in the air, great physical stats, but just defending is not good enough really. He likes us. He likes Weston Super Mare. He speaks Zulu. That's cool. Is he half English? He is half English. Yeah. He only made 16 appearances this season. Got 1 goal in the cup. Played an average rating very well. He's asked to leave. I'm interested to see if he actually will leave. I'm fine with him to be a backup. He's more than good enough. We'll see. And then obviously we've got Ahmed Kali Al-Sulaiti. This is he. He's very good. Might well even become our second goalkeeper next season. Might even become our first goalkeeper next season. He didn't concede a goal in all of his 5 appearances this season. 4 appearances in competitive games, sorry. He's very, very good. Very, very good. He's a wonder kid and great. And he's also Qatari. So it would be cool if he could end up playing for the Qatarian national team rather than the French. But fine, whatever. We've got George. He's played a few games for us recently. He doesn't look like he's going to come on as quickly as I thought he would. It was probably a bit ambitious for me to get him in, thinking he would end up as good as Nick Fitzgerald. But we'll see. We'll get him to tutor him next season. He's played well for us. He made 3 appearances, got an average rating of 7.3. There's still room for him to improve. He just needs to go and he'd be good. So we'll keep him. He's only 20. Of course, there's no need to get rid of him right yet. We've got until 2030. The one big disappointment this season, Carlo Glavina. Now, he made 1 substitute appearance in the league. He got 1, to be fair to him, he's got an absolute blinder. Now, the trouble is this. In the last year, 3 years, so, well, when did we sign him around here? Broken arm, fractured ribs, strained knee ligaments, out for 6 weeks. Sprained ankle, 5 weeks. Damaged cruciate ligaments, out for 8 months. Having come back, he is now described as not the player he once was, despite his insane skills for language. He's not being picked for the Croatian team. He's not getting picked by me. He's very quick still, which is good, but technically he's poor. We'll see what happens over the summer break. But it seems very likely that we're going to get rid of Glavina. He's not got the technical stats that we need. We need him to be here, 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 not here, here, here. So that's a shame, really. And that's the senior squad. We can go through a few of the. Oh no, we can go through very quickly a few of the under-18s. So Johan, 16, looking decent still. No, let's not bother with that. Like then they've not improved at all since we... Oh, Atlanta would have stayed up if they'd not had a points deduction. Fine, so that's the season we've just had. Let's take that off. Let's go back there. Let's go back to general info and go back to picked. Let's go back to league. That's the end of this season. I will see you at the end of the next pre-season, guys. Thank you and goodbye.